We've made it to another Friday, you and I, and that means the weekend is upon us, which hopefully means we can slow down and enjoy some quiet time. And that's going to be the topic of this week's Coffee Talk for Friday, but we're also going to tie it back to this little flashback from the past that all Gen Xers know. Remember these? We used to pass these little things back and forth in class. And this was before we had cell phones and everybody could just pop off a text message. We would write out little notes and pass them between class. Now, there were many different ways you could do this. I liked the little football method because it was more discreet. You could kind of palm it and just hand it to your buddy as you're walking out or to the girl you like, and it was easy to do. And plus, I always liked putting the all-seeing eye on mine because, you know, I'm just a dork that way. So that's my little nod to younger me, so to speak. But I was thinking about this because I was watching Rad Graham, and he did a video, I'm going to link to it here, where he talked about technology basically ruining the younger generation, right? In his video, he was talking about how kids these days are given iPads as babysitters, where we used to use television as a babysitter. iPads are now the thing. But the problem with that is that it's making it so they just cannot emotionally moderate themselves without that device. Remember the movie Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton? The whoopee in that and how they had to break the kid of having the whoopee. iPads have become this generation of children, it's their whoopee. And they lose their ever-loving shit if you take it away from them. Watch Graham's video. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it had me thinking about how it seems to be there's this want and desire by several Gen Xers that I've seen who want to kind of roll back the clock a little bit when it comes to technology and maybe kind of go back to some old school ways of doing things. And the beginning of this year, probably back in like January or February timeframe, I had the idea of writing letters. I was like, nobody writes letters anymore. Why is that? And it all stemmed from a Mad Men episode that I was rewatching Mad Men, and it was the episode where the agency got the Western Union job, and they were trying to increase their revenue because phone calls had been taking away their business. People weren't using Western Union to write friends and family anymore or send telegrams. People were doing phone calls, and Peggy comes up with the tagline, "You can't frame a phone call." And it's true. And I think we don't even do phone calls anymore. Nowadays, we just fire off text messages, and you don't even, you carry a phone in your pocket, but you hardly ever use it for a phone call. You're always sending text messages and emails. And so I took a deep dive into this whole letter writing thing and worked out if you got some cheap stationery from Amazon and a pack of Bic pens and some stamps, how much would it cost you? And it round about $3 per letter for a couple sheets of paper, an envelope, stamps, and a pen. I was like, for $3, you could write a letter to somebody and have it be meaningful, right? I didn't actually act upon this idea until about 2.5, 3 months ago when I finally went on Amazon myself and I bought some stationery. Of course, I got the old school, it looks like the airmail stuff. So I got the stationery and the envelope and some stamps and decided I would start writing letters to people. And in every instance, everybody really appreciated it because it's special. You just don't get it anymore. And it just brightened their day. It was funny because when my mom got the first letter, of course, she texted me, "Hey, I got your letter. This was great. I loved it. I'm going to treasure it forever." And I'm like, could have wrote me back. But that's okay. It's so easy and convenient to fire off that text message, whereas sitting down and taking the time to write a letter, it takes thought, it takes time, it takes effort. That's the one thing I noticed with writing letters to people. The conversation that we have through those letters, it's more meaningful, right? It's not like a FaceTime call or a text message where you're talking about, oh my God, I had Thai food today, and look at this stupid picture of blah, blah, blah. When you sit down to write a letter, or for me, when I would sit down to write a letter, I would stop and really think about what it is I wanted to say in this letter. And because of that, the conversation tend to carry more weight. They have more depth. They have more meaning. And I found that to be a very interesting result of this little experiment of mine. And like I said, it's been going on for a couple weeks now because the U.S. Postal Service has gotten really freaking slow. It takes 2 weeks for a letter to get from Texas to Illinois, for crying out loud. But yeah, we used to do that. You know, we used to send letters to each other in between classes through notes like this, or hell, I think even in 5th or 6th grade, we had pen pals. I had one in France. It was 5th grade. I had one in France that I would write to, and it was a big deal on the days that the letters would come in, that we all got to sit down and open letters from our pen pals and would read them, and then we would spend the afternoon writing back to them and addressing it and everything else. You know, to Graham's point in Rad Graham in his video, he had to actually send a video to his daughter on how to fold a letter, a piece of paper, to put it in an envelope. So it's a skill that is lost, and I think that's so sad. So I wanted to talk about that today and see if we can do a little bit of a challenge here. So what I want you to do over the weekend, write a letter to somebody and mail it to them, and just let it arrive. Let it show up on their door. Even if you spoke to the person today and you write a letter to them tomorrow, they won't get it for a few days. And then when they do, it'll make their day. They will be so happy that you wrote them something. It brings a smile to your face. I have a letter sitting on my desk right now that is prompting me to talk about this, because I have a letter from my sister that I received that I'm going to be writing her back tomorrow. I'm planning to do this, and it's exciting because I'm thinking about things that I want to say in response to what she wrote me. And like I said, the conversations we have are more meaningful than any phone call that we've had, and it's more memorable. And on top of that, you've got that tangible thing you can go back to anytime and relive those conversations. And I think it's something that maybe, just maybe, we can start a little bit of a movement in this community of ours that we've built here, where we can bring back a little bit of the old school method of communication and have it be with a greater purpose in mind of having real conversations that carry some weight and meaning, as opposed to a lot of the conversations that we have throughout the day via text message and email. They, quite frankly, by the time I go to sleep and wake up the next morning, I have to struggle to remember and go back to those text messages and, oh, okay, that's what I said. But yet, if you were to ask me what my sister wrote me in the past 2 letters, I can tell you. So it's a fun little experiment. I hope you join in on it. And if you do, let me know in the comment section how your letter writing adventure goes. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the comment section.